All right. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. We're going to get started in here in just a moment. If you could, please introduce yourself. Say hi in our chat. We'll get started in just a couple minutes. So we're going to get started here in just a couple minutes. Working on the camera situation here. It looks like it's doing it from my laptop, not my big monitor. So it's a slightly different angle that you see of my office today. Still have my social responsibility t-shirt and, of course, Dodgers sign on my fridge. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. This is, I'm at school, Scott. So yeah, this is my work office. My home office is the one that looks like it has the cinder box behind it. Kind of looks like a cave. All right, so we still have some folks trickling in. Very good to see all of you this morning. I have a few announcements, and then I'm going to go ahead and take your questions. So if you can sit tight here for a few minutes, have some stuff to get through, and then I'm going to be happy to dialogue with you and answer your questions. Super exciting time for us. You know, yesterday morning, we had our freshman orientation and link crew for our incoming freshman students. And that was a really exciting opportunity for us to be able to meet all of our incoming freshman students, for them to meet some of our teachers. And really, most importantly, we were able to connect freshman students who participated to older students. They would call it a cougar connection, essentially, where now they have an older student who can be a mentor and a friend for them as they progress through high school here. So we had over 600 freshman students registered as of the night before freshman orientation. I haven't quite seen the attendance list for it as well, but we expect we had over 600 students participate. We were really excited with how it turned out. You know, the freshman class is around 730 or so. So that's a significant percentage of our freshman class, learning what it means to be a cougar, learning what it means to be a student at Evergreen Valley. So really happy we were able to have that opportunity to meet our freshman students. And a big thank you to Miss Yenter, our activities director, but also really the huge thanks goes to all of our amazing student government and leadership students. They did a fantastic job putting together a virtual freshman orientation. And I'm going to be honest, I am not familiar right now with any other school who did a live in-person, well, not in-person, but live virtual freshman orientation as opposed to a video. So just major props to our student leadership department for doing that. And again, a huge welcome to all of our new freshman students and parents. So it looks like we got some more folks coming in. Again, welcome. Welcome. We'll be taking your questions here in just a few minutes. So first day of school is on Tuesday, T-minus 6 days now. It is less than a week to the start of the 2020-2021 school year. Just saying those years is really surprising. I never thought we'd quite get to 2020. It's such a big number, but here we are. And we are welcoming the class of 2024, our incoming freshman students. So we are going to be starting the year on distance learning. And hopefully you have had an opportunity to see the distance learning schedule that is posted on our website and has been shared. Now, in case you have not had the opportunity to see that distance learning schedule, I'm going to drop a link in the chat right now. tinyurl.com/EVHS newsletter. So YouTube Live, I can't really share screens. That's why we'll be back to Zoom next week. But if you go ahead and take a look at our newsletter, right at the top, you'll see the calendar where you can see our block schedule. So students are not going to every class every day. They are going to be on a block schedule, going to either even periods each day or odd periods each day. There is also going to be a Wednesday advisory tutorial period in the afternoon where teachers will have 30 to 50 minutes to meet with their classes and do social emotional learning, relationship building, and also provide extra help. And teachers are also going to have office hours and will be available during those advisory and tutorial times that you see posted on that schedule as well. So that is the schedule that we're going to be following. We do anticipate that if we do come back to in-person learning at some time in the school year, which of course we do want to be back in person as soon as possible. So please make sure that you are wearing your mask, staying socially distant so we can all get back in person as soon as possible. But if we were to come back in person this school year, I expect that we would follow that same bell schedule that we're going to have for distance learning. This is live interaction as well, so it's going to be considerably different than it was in the spring. You will expect teachers to have video conferences, for each of their class periods. Now, that doesn't mean that it's going to be a 90-minute long Zoom session. The class periods are 90-minute long. I would not want to be talked to for 90 minutes straight through a computer screen. What that does mean, though, is that there's going to be live interaction, right? So most teachers will probably end up having, 20 to 25 minutes of direct instruction, an interaction with students, and then transition into some group work, having students work together in breakout rooms and collaborate together. And then a time for independent practice, as well as using other instructional tools as well. So don't expect that there's going to be a 90-minute sort of lecture from teachers. Of course, direct instruction is a portion of it, but we also want our staff to be using a variety of instructional strategies, to meet students where they are during distance learning. Now, if you need a device, so of course you do need a computer to access distance learning. I know Zoom has a phone app, but really for students, you should be on a computer. That's just sort of the best practice as far as learning goes. If you need a computer, we are checking out brand new Chromebooks. So brand new Chromebooks we're checking out at lunchtime. So this week, today, tomorrow, and Friday, it's going to be from 12 to 1. And then starting next week, once we get started with our school schedule, it's still going to be during lunchtime, but lunchtime really shifts to 11:45 to 12:50. So I see some questions starting in the chat. I promise I'll get to them. I just have a little spiel to get through. So I am going to talk a bit about textbooks coming in. We're up over 200 people now. Welcome, welcome. It is so great to see you all here. As far as schedules, so you should be able to see your schedule on School Loop. If you are an incoming freshman student, you first need to register for School Loop to see the schedule. So all schedules are on School Loop. You need to register for School Loop to see your schedule. If you do not have a schedule yet, that probably means that you have registered very, very recently, as like within the past week or so. So you need to give our registrar some time to activate you in our system and to have your schedule be ready. Again, we still have 6 days till the start of school. So we do plan that if you can get us all the paperwork that we're asking for, we do anticipate, being able to have your student have a schedule to be ready for Tuesday. Today we're using YouTube and not Zoom because we use a district webinar account, and it's a very busy time for our district IT, and we weren't quite able to get the webinar scheduled for today. But what we are going to be doing is starting next week, we're going to have regular times for our coffee chat. It's going to be every Thursday at 10 a.m. and that will be a Zoom webinar. So we'll be sharing out that info here in a bit. So feel free to chat. I'm not looking at the chat too much right now, but I am going to go back to the beginning and answer your questions once I'm done with my spiel. So welcome, everyone. If you need a Chromebook, again, come during lunchtime. If you need an internet hotspot, please email Ms. Reyes, and I'm going to put her email right here. Email Ms. Reyes for an internet hotspot. If you don't have internet at home, that is her email right there. We will be able to set you up with one. So again, schedules are in School Loop. Go ahead and take a look there. If you need a schedule change or if you'd like to request a schedule change, there is a button at the top of our homepage, evhs.schoolloop.com. Go ahead and click on that orangish brown button and submit your request. We, of course, will change your schedule if there's an error on your schedule, or if you need a class for graduation, or if you need a class for A through G requirements. Now, keep in mind, we have almost 3,000 students. We're at 2,970 students in Infinite Campus right now for our system. And I know that there's some folks that are antsy about getting in the system. Please be patient. So please be patient. We will get everyone registered. We will respond to your schedule change requests, but please remember that we are a large school and our counseling staff doesn't start work until next week. So we do anticipate that we'll get everything ready before the start of school. Please remember, this is a little different this year than in prior years. In prior years, we would be doing schedule changes after the school year started. So I know everyone's antsy and I know everyone's like ready to get their schedule changed, but remember, we still have 6 days out. So we are doing our best to have all that handled before the first day of school. In terms of textbooks, a lot of times textbooks is one of the most common questions that we get. So if a course has a digital edition of a textbook, that is what we're going to be using. And many of our courses had already been piloting and using digital versions of their textbooks. So for example, biology. Biology is one of our courses that uses a digital version of a textbook. And then there's several other courses that use digital versions as well. Now, not all courses have digital editions of textbooks though. So for courses that don't have a digital version of a textbook, we are going to be checking out paper textbooks. Now, because you're in our coffee chat, you're going to hear the news first. So breaking news right now, right? No one's going to know about this until we send out the email, but I'm going to tease you with this news first. So textbook pickup is going to be taking place on Wednesdays. So if you look at the distance learning schedule, you'll see that Wednesday morning is time for staff to collaborate and plan. And then the afternoon is advisory and tutorial time where students can connect with their teachers. Now on Wednesdays, starting on August 12th, we are going to be distributing textbooks, most likely in a drive-through format, similar to how we had students return their textbooks. We're going to be doing it by grade level. So we anticipate that on August 12th, we're going to have our freshmen. Then the next Wednesday, we're going to have sophomores, then juniors, and then seniors. And that's what we're going to be doing for textbooks. We hope to have one trip for textbooks per grade level. But, given the difficulties of distance learning, we may ask you to come back another time to get a book. It's our goal to try to do all of this in August. Novels are a little bit different. English teachers use novels typically by grading period, grading period 1, 2, and 3, which takes place over the course of 6 weeks. So novels we are probably going to check out on a rolling basis as well, maybe at lunchtime, but possibly on Wednesdays as well. So stay tuned. So the announcement was, though, freshman students expect to hear an announcement regarding textbook pickup on Wednesday, August 12th. And then other grades, we're going to be doing it on each subsequent Wednesday. We're still trying to figure out if we can combine grade levels together and if we can get people through without the lines being too long. So stay tuned. So to answer your question for textbooks, if it's a digital textbook, your teacher will share that information with you once you start school next week. If it's a paper textbook, we're going to be doing that on Wednesdays in August. So stay tuned. Senior portraits. Hopefully we have some of our senior parents on this chat right now. I got asked a lot about senior portraits. So we are still working with our studio in terms of setting that up. I do anticipate, though, that we're going to start with senior portraits in August. Probably around August 17th is when we are going to be starting senior portraits. We most likely will be doing it out of our theater lobby. It's probably going to be only 2 students per 15-minute window. We are going to have social distancing in place. Students are required to wear their mask. Essentially what it's going to do, you show up to campus, you have your mask on like this. When you're ready to take your picture, mask off, take the picture, then the mask goes right back on again. So the expectation is that students wear their masks, they practice social distancing for seniors, but we will be able to get senior portraits done. So stay tuned for an announcement on that, seniors and senior parents. I anticipate that that's going to be coming around August 17th is when we're hoping to start. So stay tuned for that one. Also want to mention clubs and athletics. So athletics has been postponed. You probably saw the news in the newspaper. Athletics has been postponed to the spring. The 3 seasons are going to be compressed a little in the spring. And the first possible day for practice is going to be in December. So December 14th, I think, for fall sports. So we still are a very long way away from being able to participate in athletics. Now, athletic conditioning is possible once we get out of the phase 1, sort of the watch list that we are on Onset County. So we did have some athletic conditioning going on, cohorts of 12 students. But once we got on that watch list, we had to put a pause on that. So we hope to have that back soon. Now, as far as student clubs, once we have students on campus, student clubs are student-led. So that's an important thing to remember, right? There are club advisors that are faculty members, but student clubs are student-led. So students are the one doing the work. Sometimes I get questions saying, hey, the teacher needs to do this or the school needs to do this about a club. Well, remember, clubs are student organizations, right? So they are student-led. We want to encourage our students to be leaders and to learn how to run an organization, right? So please be patient as student clubs get up and running. We do have many students who are interested in getting club activities. We do expect also to have a virtual club week where students will be able to check out what different club offerings we have. So sit tight on clubs. More information is going to be shared soon. So I glanced at the chat. I see Maze Merck. Schedules are not given out by paper. Log into School Loop to see your schedule, or register for School Loop if you're an incoming freshman. You'll be able to see your schedule there. I talked a bit about the newsletter as far as a great place to get information for Evergreen Valley. There is the URL again for the newsletter. We are updating this constantly with new information. You can also see the bell schedule there. We don't have bells, since we're all going to be at home, but we do have a schedule of classes, and you can see it there as well. I do want to mention that this first week, so coming up next week, we are going to have a Wednesday collaboration day. So there are no classes on Wednesday of next week. Now, Labor Day week, it's going to be a bit different. Students will have classes once we get to Labor Day week, but that's a little far off. Social media. I always want to plug our social media sites as well. This is another place for you to get information regarding Evergreen Valley. And we have a few different pages that are great for you to take a look at. So first is Twitter. A lot of times, our Twitter, we share the announcements first, right? So I'll have an email that I'll send out to everyone. But before I write that email, I'll post it on Twitter. So if you want to be in the know sort of first, go ahead and follow us on Twitter, please. And you will get news and updates. That is our Facebook as well. So if you want to friend us on Facebook, please go ahead and friend us on Facebook and Twitter, and we will get you all sorts of announcements and information as well. School Loop is an amazing place for news and resources as well. On the right-hand side of your School Loop page, you'll have the news portal. And then once the first day of school starts, you will get a daily newsletter to your inbox with just updates, club events, announcements from the school, and things like that. So that will turn on next week as well. And I also want to mention, before I start taking your questions here, I want to mention our fantastic PTSA. So evhs.ptsa.com. It doesn't look like the hyperlink went, so I'm going to try that again, www.evhs.ptsa.com. They are a fantastic group of parents, a fantastic organization. And so for, if you were interested in helping out the school, I often get asked, how do I volunteer, or how do I help the school? And the best way to do that is by becoming a member of our PTA. So hello to all of our PTA members that we have in our chat today. It is fantastic to see you all. All right. So I think that is just about the end of my, let's see here. I think that's the end of my spiel. Are you guys still with me? I'm seeing some folks saying that the feed is stuck. Is everyone still here? So it looks like things are going for me. There we go. Okay. Looks like we just had a pause in the chat. Thank you, guys. All right. So what I'm going to do now, I went through my spiel. I do see Miss Reyes in the chat. Miss Reyes is an amazing person. She is our parent and community involvement specialist. She is answering your questions in the chat. So what I'm going to do in the entrance of transparency is I am going back to the start of the chat. And so I'm going to start answering your questions in order. So if I don't see your question live, know that I'm coming from the bottom and then working on up. So let's get started with some questions. Again, welcome everyone. All right. So I'm going through here. DJ Murder Tone. That is a cool name. I feel like I should have like DJ Principal or something, a cool name like that. Who do I need to inform about a change of address? So thanks for that question. That's going to be our registrar's office. So you can send that to our registrar, Ms. Castro. Please be patient. This is the busiest time of year for the registrar's office. Our focus right now is getting all of our freshmen and transfer students enrolled and with a schedule. So address changes are a second priority to that. So once we get past and over the hump for the start of school, that will be processed. If you need assistance, though, feel free to email me. But again, please be patient with address changes. Getting everyone enrolled is our first priority. Pratik asks, hello, Pratik. Which textbook subjects are the ones that need to be picked up? Stay tuned. So we are going to do it by grade level. So for example, we are going to say, freshman students come, to campus at such and such time. If your last name is between A and C, you're going to have an appointment window to come and pick up your textbook. We're going to have a little barcode that we can scan on our own that's tied to your student ID. So we don't need a student ID or anything from that. We are going to need to know your name and ID number. And then we will be able to tell which books, to check out to you. And then if there is a digital version for the class, you will be able to, get that information from your teachers. So thank you for that question. Diana asks, have all instructors been trained on using the new tools? Well, great question. By and large, the tools aren't new. So what we're going to be doing, in distance learning is video conferencing, right? Live interaction each period. And that's going to be through Zoom or Google Meet. Most of our teachers were using Zoom. There were a few who were using Google Meet. Either one is going to be fine. And so most of our teachers are proficient now with Zoom and Google Meet. Now, over the summer, dozens of our teachers have participated in professional development through our district on Zoom, School Loop, Google Classroom, social emotional strategies through distance learning, updating curricula. So they've been participating in those PD sessions. We also have been working with teachers over the summer in calibrating their lessons to distance learning and updating their unit plans as well. So several of our teachers have been working throughout July in their departments on updating that information as well. And then, of course, every Wednesday as we progress through the school year, we're going to have professional development sessions as well. So we'll have another session on Monday when staff are at work, another session for them to choose an area to learn more about new tools. And there's also going to be a couple sessions on our Wednesday collaboration a day as well. So yes, teachers have been trained on how to use these, and the training's been ongoing over the summer. But one of the things that we are about as Evergreen is that we're lifelong learners. And we believe that just because you think you've mastered something or reached a point where you understand how something works, we always want to keep improving ourselves to realize our full potential, right? Roar. So we are going to be using those Wednesdays to the fullest to collaborate and to learn on how to provide the best distance learning that we can for our students. So thank you, Diana. Great question. Shu Hong asks, hello, Shu Hong. We missed the dates to return the textbooks. How are we going to return them now? So Shu Hong, that is super easy. All you need to do is put your textbooks in a bag, plastic or paper, it doesn't matter. Write your student's name and ID number on the bag and drop it off to the front door of our main office between 9 a.m. and 2 p.m. So if you could do that, just bag your textbooks, put your student's name and ID on them, drop it off at our front door, right off of Quimby by the flagpole. That's how you can turn your textbooks in if you missed the day. So thank you for that question, Shu Hong. Great question. Thivy Fam asks, can you send the link to register to School Loop? That's going to be our homepage, evhs.schoolloop.com. You click School Loop login and then click register, and you will be able to register for School Loop. So welcome to Evergreen. Vanessa Trong asks, can we pick up the Chromebook today? If so, what paperwork do we need to turn in? Yes, you can come and pick up the Chromebook today in like 37 minutes. Mr. Bustani or Dr. Hamilton will be out in the parking lot with Chromebooks. They are new Chromebooks. You will need to bring your student ID number. So you're going to need to know what your student ID number is. We are checking Chromebooks out to incoming freshmen. The only thing that we are requiring to check out a Chromebook is that you are actively enrolled in our system. So if we are still processing your registration, we're going to hold off just until we're certain that you're our student before we give the Chromebook away. But we just need to know your name and ID number. We can look it up and confirm that in our system. So yes, you can come to get a Chromebook today. Great question, Vanessa. KMC asks, how and when will their class schedule be sent to students? So class schedules are available on School Loop. So if you are an incoming freshman, please register for School Loop. You can see your schedule there. Returning students, just log into School Loop. Your schedule is there as well. Rajesh asks, good morning. Do we expect difference in teaching pattern, curriculum compared to March when we closed? Absolutely. So distance learning, and thank you for that question, Rajesh. That's a great question. So distance learning in the spring is going to be completely different than what it is starting next week. So first of all, you'll notice that the schedule is significantly different, right? In the spring, students were only connecting with their classes once per week. Now we are on a block schedule where teachers are connecting with their students twice a week for a total of 180 instructional minutes per academic class. Now, remember, though, on top of that, you also have the 30 to 50-minute advisory period that's available on Wednesdays as well that's added onto that, where students can get extra help, learn how to be a better student, social emotional learning strategies as well. Another thing that's going to be significantly different from the spring is the requirement that there is live interaction at each of those class periods. So in the fall, rather, that's what we're going to be having. In the spring, it was okay for teachers to provide like homework packets and things like that. That was in the rules that we had for spring because it was crisis mode. It was new for everyone. But now we have a few months under our belts of distance learning. And so every class period, the expectation is that teachers are interacting with their students over a video chat. And so that, it's not going to be 90 minutes of a teacher talking to the student, but there is going to be live interaction. Students are going to be working together in those Zoom calls. And I anticipate that it's going to be much more rigorous, much more robust than it was in the spring. Now, of course, remember, though, we are still all learning distance learning. So we're in this together and we're going to work through it together. But yes, the curriculum is going to look different. Of course, we are starting fresh as well. And so teachers are prioritizing which standards to teach as well. But great question, Rajesh. Kim Nguyen asks, who should I contact regarding my son's schedule? He hasn't gotten it. Take a look in School Loop. Take a look in School Loop for the schedule. Shanti asks, requested a schedule change. When can we get the updates? We anticipate having all updates to parents and students by next week, by the first day of school. Keep in mind, though, that our requests, we are going to be able to accommodate requests for schedule errors, graduation requirements, the wrong level of a class. I should be in Math 2, not Math 1, that sort of thing. We're not able to accommodate students wanting to change their electives, start times, or teacher preferences, things like that. So we appreciate your understanding. Our goal is to minimize any moving of schedules after the first day of school. Raluca asks, where and when to pick up 12th grade books? Raluca, so we're going to do that on Wednesdays. Stay tuned for the schedule. We're going to do it by grade level. So we will send that out over School Loop for paper textbooks. Hello, Khan. Khan Huyn asks, will the teachers be at school? I think you mean during Zoom lectures. That's a great question, Khan. And if you've been reading the Mercury News lately, you may have seen San Jose Unified. There's a little, I don't want to say drama. I would say it's more than drama. People are upset that San Jose Unified is requiring all of their teachers to come to campus to do distance learning. Our district, not going to say I don't know anything about San Jose Unified, so I'm not saying anything bad about them. Our district, though, I know is really placing a priority and premium on staff health and safety and student health and safety. And so our staff members are not required to do distance learning out of our classroom. But our staff members do have the option to do distance learning out of their classrooms. And so we will have, for sure, several staff members using their classrooms for distance learning. And then we'll have many, many others, probably most, doing their distance learning from home. But now in the fall, if a teacher has spotty internet at home, well, now they have the option of using our fast internet here at school and doing it out of their classroom. But it is up to them. It is an option. So, you could envision some science teachers, maybe one day a week coming in and doing a virtual lab in their science lab out of their classroom in that video conference, right? So the students are able to experience it virtually. So it is an option. Kalyan asks, hello, Kalyan. Will there be any in-person appointments or small one-on-one activity possible at school? Great question, right? We want to be back to in-person learning as soon as possible. So right now we are in phase one. We are in phase one, which means because we are on the county watch list, we are closed to in-person instruction. We should have the opportunity, even when we are in phase one, to have students on campus and supervise if they need a safe and quiet place to do distance learning or if they don't have internet at home. Now, it's not going to be instruction, but it's going to be sort of in the cafeteria, like with one of our student advisors, sort of supervising. Now, once we get off of that county watch list, then that opens up some more possibilities. And then you can start seeing, our Montsevier special education program having in-person learning for our English learners as well. So that would be a possibility, as well as opening the door for some one-on-one meetings with counselors, social workers, things like that. But we're going to need to wait until the health situation improves and we are off of that county watch list. So for now, the answer is going to be no in-person instruction. But if things improve, we're going to be moving in that direction. But there's also several logistical items that we need to get over as well. Like staff getting tested for COVID-19. So if you are going to be in a cohort of students, 12 students, it looks like our staff is going to need to get tested prior to that for COVID-19 to confirm that they're able to be in the cohort. So lots of stuff to prepare for that eventuality, but stay tuned for that. Diana asks, will traditional books be issued? Yes, for courses that don't have an online edition. On Nguyen, I see all your messages. Please check your email from Ms. Reyes. Please check your email from Ms. Reyes. She will help you out, I promise. Hello, Ms. Gupta. I see the, I love that picture of me on your TV in the living room. I saw that email. Thank you. That's a lot of fun that you guys watch it together. The School Loop mobile app doesn't have courses loaded yet. When is that expected to be done? That's a great question. I'm going to have to check in on that. School Loop, sometimes with these apps and big companies, we request that they turn on things early, like they turn it on in mid-July, and they say they'll turn it on when they turn it on, right? So I'm going to need to check on the mobile app. It may be one of those things that gets activated for the first week of school, and usually things refresh overnight. So I'm going to check on that and see what the status of that is. So great question. Thank you. Con Huyn asks, hello again. Is our district, Eastside, still in a $20 million budget deficit? I don't have the numbers in front of me, but yes, our district is still facing a very, very large structural budget deficit. And there are a lot of reasons for that. If you came to our in-person coffee chats last year, we talked about this a lot. Of course, it's worsened now because of COVID-19. It's bad for all sorts of things. It's very bad for school districts. So yeah, our district, I believe at this week's board meeting tomorrow, they're going to be having a budget discussion. We're fine for this school year. I don't anticipate any layoffs this school year. But when we get to March of 2021 and we start planning for next school year, there could potentially be some layoffs. So what we're really waiting to see is what Congress does. So if Congress passes money to help state and local governments and schools, that could significantly help the district's budget. So thank you for that question, Con. Shilpa asks, can we get hard copies of all textbooks, please? This will really help students. I'm sorry, no. So we will be doing digital textbooks where there's a digital edition, and we'll be doing paper textbooks where there is no digital edition. Now, I want to remind everyone that this is something that schools and districts have been doing for years. The year is 2020. When you are in college, you're going to be using a lot of digital textbooks, and textbooks cost millions and millions and millions of dollars. Textbook is a big business, and so they keep redoing editions, and it's difficult to make copies of them and things like that. So things are turning digital. That is just the trajectory that education is going as far as textbooks. And at a school of 3,000 students, where each student has 4 or 5 textbooks, it is incredibly challenging for us to distribute them in a way that's socially distant. and that's safe. And so that is why we're doing digital textbooks for courses that have them. So thank you for that question. All right, just scrolling through here. Periods are 90 minutes long, so Neil asks, instead of 55 minutes, there is risk of blood clot, eye strain, attention loss, need to go to the restroom. Can students get a 5-minute break during the period? That's going to be up to the staff member, up to the teacher. We are training our staff on different instructional strategies that get up and move students around. They're actually called brain breaks. Maybe on a coffee chat one of these days, we'll demonstrate from some of them for you, and we can practice them together. And basically, it asks students to get up, move around. It's called a brain break because your brain needs to take a break, and you need to get the blood moving. So there's a bunch of different activities that our staff members have been trained on. And of course, like I mentioned earlier, chunking of the lessons is important. Now, as far as whether there'll be breaks in the session, student engagement's important. I'd be worried about a break in the session and then students not coming back. Ultimately, that will be at the discretion of the teacher. There are many, many breaks built into our distance learning schedule. So thanks for that question. Shanti asks, how can we get last year's copy of the school yearbook? So you should be able to order the school yearbook on Tree Ring still. In fact, I think you can order any year's yearbook on Tree Ring. I'm just checking out our websites if I can find it real quick. Otherwise, Shanti, go ahead and send me an email and I'll find you the link for that. I can't find it right now, but we can find you a link for that for previous year's yearbooks. So thanks for that question. How would we report absences for our kids? Samar asks, great question. So you're going to be doing that the same way you always have. So if your student is ill or has a doctor's appointment or is going to a funeral or anything, going to be absent from their distance learning, you can call and email our attendance secretaries, Miss Rachel and Miss Kim, just like you would normally. So we'll be sending that out once the school year gets started. We are working on a text option. We're trying to get a text message option up and running for absence reporting. Of course, we want to make sure that it's actually our parents texting the school and not students texting the school, right? So we are working on a text option. Otherwise, call and email for absences. Now, I do want to mention, if students are sick, because we are in distance learning, if they're able to still participate in their Zoom sessions, they can do that. Kind of similar to how our staff works, right? So if a teacher is ill, they can stay home and they can do distance learning. Now, if they're too ill to do distance learning, then, the class wouldn't run and there would be pre-prepared lessons. But yeah, so call the attendance office or email the attendance secretaries. Chin Mei asks, can we pick up textbooks and Chromebooks at the same time? Those are in separate locations, So only textbooks once you pick up textbooks. You can come get a Chromebook at lunchtime from the student parking lot. Will student be able to catch up or make up missed work or tests due to illness? It needs to be excused through the office. So you need to excuse that absence to make it up. And then yes, it can be made up. Typically how that works is the amount of time you're absent, right? So if you are out for a week, you will have a week to make up those assignments. But I'm going to tell you, attendance in distance learning is critical, all right? Having students engaged is critical every day, all day. So as a parent, my request to you is please limit the time that your student will not be participating in distance learning. Make those doctor's appointments after school, or better yet, make them on Wednesdays. Make your doctor's appointments, your dentist appointments, if you can still get in to see your dentist, make those on Wednesdays. Please, please, please do your best to have your student be in every distance learning session that there is. Martha, hello Martha. Martha Rocha asks, when will students get a link for online classes? So when our teachers start on Monday, they will be sharing their links. So that will be coming on Monday. So thanks for that question. Wei Wei asks, for last semester books that have not been returned, when can we bring them in? Bring them to the front office between 9 and 2, put them in a bag, put your ID number on the bag, and drop them off at the front office. All right, Diana, I believe I answered your questions about the distance learning tools earlier. Of course, it's different teachers are at different levels in terms of their abilities with technology, but everyone should have improved from, before we closed down in March. Pratik asks, when will we get our student IDs? So that is something that is not the highest priority for us now. Our priority right now is getting textbooks to students and starting the year, making sure that all of our students are engaged and onboarded. If it is safe to have ID photos, we will do that. Just remember, it's really hard to get thousands of students onto campus in a socially distanced way by appointments. So we're thinking about ID cards. It's in the back of our mind, but we don't have any timetable on that. Now, senior portraits will be happening in August, and that schedule will be shared soon. So keep an eye on School Loop. Scott asks, regarding school clubs, is there an alternative to Facebook per freshman orientation? They say that's how they do the club stuff. I'm surprised to hear that, Scott. Most clubs should not be using Facebook. Most clubs have School Loop, sort of groups that they use for clubs. It's hard with 100 student-led organizations. There are some clubs that will use Facebook groups and things like that. But most, that is not a barrier to joining a club. And so most clubs will communicate via School Loop. If there's a specific club you're concerned about, Scott, I would recommend you email our activities director, Ms. Yenter, since she oversees all clubs on campus. But yes, there should be an alternative to Facebook. Brandy asks, when will schedules be posted on School Loop for transfer students? That's on a rolling basis once we get you registered. So again, our goal is before the first day of school. Ms. Kondapi asks, for textbook pickups, will time slots be given? Yes, time slots will be given for textbook pickup. So you'll have a window of time to drive to campus. Beatrice asks, can you recommend that English teachers publish a list of the novels they will use so students who prefer to take notes in the books can purchase ahead of time? Yeah, Beatrice, that should be in the teacher's syllabi. So when they release their syllabus at the start of the school year next week, the book list of what books they're going to be working on should be in the syllabus. Now, we are still working on getting enough novels to check out with all of our students and transferring them from other district sites. And of course, we need to let the books sort of stay put for a while if they're coming from students, so they have time sort of to sanitize themselves. But yeah, your English teachers will be sharing novels with you. All right, still scrolling through here. So please be patient. Looks like I got a little behind here. All right, here we go. All right, Andrew asks, how do we get our student ID numbers so we can register for School Loop? So Andrew Vo, if you went to Quimby or Shibuya, your student ID number is going to be your middle school ID number with 12 in front of it. So your middle school ID number with 12 at the front of it. If you are not from Quimby or Shibuya, go ahead and email, me or Ms. Reyes, and we can let you know your student ID number. Vin Du asks, for the first week of school, do students have Wednesday off? Yes. So there are no scheduled classes that first week for staff collaboration. How long is the coffee chat going to be? We're going to be going probably to about a little after noon today, maybe like 12:10 or so. Karun, as far as student IDs, no timeline on that yet. So stay tuned. We'll let you know. As far as where to pick up the Chromebooks today, that is the EVHS student parking lot. EVHS student parking lot. Is the bookstore library open during the school year? If so, how do you get in? No, our library is not open for checkout of books during the school year, unfortunately. I would encourage you to get a library card for the San Jose City libraries. They have a lot of great digital resources and free tutoring available. Vibha asks, how are we going to do PE? Great question. So we're going to do PE through distance learning, and the teachers, PE teachers, have actually been working a lot this summer on making their curriculum ready. Of course, it can be done through video chat. There are many stretches and exercises that you can do just from your own home. There can be fitness logs as well. And also remember that a big part of PE is academic, right? Learning about kinesthesiology, anatomy, and physiology, healthy living. So all of that's going to be done through distance learning. When is the last day to return textbook? Ananya asks. Please now, please return your books now. Please don't wait. You shouldn't be hanging on to textbooks that you have previously. We need those books to be able to distribute to everyone else. So please don't be sitting on your textbooks. Walk down the street to the main office and drop them off. Thank you, Ms. Reyes, for saying the same thing. So Samar asked, how do you report your absence if they're sick and couldn't attend class? Again, that's going to be to the attendance office. We will be sending out that information, but you can call or email. Yes, you can bring your textbooks today between 9 and 2, please. Shreyas asks, do you know which classes will provide physical textbooks? We're still working on that. We likely will not share that list publicly just because the list is incredibly long. The file, last time I looked, I think we're up to like 40 pages. There's a lot of courses and a lot of books, and not all teachers use the same textbook. So we probably won't be sharing that list out, but we will know when you come at your assigned slot based on your schedule what books you need, and we will give those to you. And if for some reason we don't have one ready, you can come back to get a new book. David asks, good morning. My son has SBCD, has a problem. Who do we need to talk to? Please submit a schedule change request form. So if you have an issue with a schedule and you'd like to submit a request, I'm dropping it in the chat right now. So please submit a request through that link. Ms. Guban, our associate principal who oversees academics and scheduling, is completing all of those requests. Diana asks, when you return the books, the name or ID was not required. That's fine. So if you did your textbook return through drive-through, that's okay. We have a scanner that we can scan the barcode that will update in our system that you return the books. We are only asking to do that for if folks miss that deadline to keep them sorted in the main office. It just helps to have the books together in a bag. So don't worry about that. If you drop them off already, you're good. Kartik asks, my daughter got an email that shows her schedule change, but it doesn't show on School Loop. When will it show on School Loop? School Loop usually refreshes at night. So School Loop usually refreshes overnight. So if you got the email this morning, it should be shown on School Loop the next day. If not, definitely by next week. From RJ, can there be a coffee session with academic counselors? Oh, you read my mind, RJ. So yes, we are going to be having some special guests once the school year gets started on these coffee chats. So it won't just be me. We'll be having some special guests, and those could be our teachers, department chairs, sort of sharing what their department is doing during distance learning. Absolutely, the counselors, our social worker, student representatives from student government, students who are in clubs who want to talk about their events. So yes, once the school year gets started next week, we will be having special guests where I will kind of let them take questions, and I'll be like a TV host. So I'm super excited about that. For incoming freshmen who did not attend middle school at Quimby or Shibuya, how did the ID number and photo be processed? The ID number, please email Ms. Reyes or myself, and we can get that for you. Photos are going to come later. So Rupa says her son requested scheduling on School Loop, but he received a different schedule today via his school email, which is correct. If you received an email from Ms. Guban with the schedule this morning, that schedule is going to be correct, and then School Loop is going to refresh itself overnight. So stay tuned. Wei, yes, you can bring the new book, Wei, but I would make sure that you put like a Post-it note on top of that book explaining what the situation is. That's a new book, and include your student name and ID number if you've got a new book. That's fine. Thank you, Mr. Larson, for those suggestions. I do believe that chunking lessons into parts, I would say even no more than 20 minutes at a time is a really great instructional strategy. I also like the idea about music. I need to start doing that at the beginning of our coffee chat, so it's not that kind of weird silence as we're waiting for people to join. Let's see. 3A asked, if I was given 5 AP courses, is it possible to drop one of them? I did not request it. Well, you can request it and see what happens. There are some courses that are currently too full that we need to take some students out of. And so you may be able to have to drop if it's one of those courses. So 3A, it doesn't hurt to ask. So Jason Boo asks, my son locker in School Loop shows the courses, but no time and date. Nothing indicates what or when to do. Can we solve that? Well, you need to look at the schedule of classes. So the way we're going to do that, and I'm going to drop it in right here into our chat. Take a look at the schedule of classes. So I'm posting it right there. So for example, you see first period on School Loop. Well, first period is going to meet for the first time on Thursday at 8:30. If you see your second period is going to meet for the first time at 8:30 on Tuesday. So that's how you know when the class is. Now on Monday, when the teachers come, they will send out their links for how to access those classes. So thank you for that question, Jason. Rashmi asked, can we request for more than one AP in 9th grade? No, Rashmi. In fact, typically freshmen will not take any AP classes. So typically only if a student is at a high enough level to take AP Calculus AB, that's the only AP Physics course typically, or I'm sorry, AP course typically available to freshmen. Venkat asks, what is the process to enroll in EVC for fall semester? He's already enrolled in the summer class for EVC. So if you are interested in taking a class at Evergreen Valley College or Foothill or De Anza or any of those different classes, you need to complete an R40. And so I'm going to drop this link in the chat as well for how to get your R40 process. So I just dropped it in if you take a look. Short story is there's some paperwork that your counselor needs to sign, but if you follow the instructions, you'll be good. OM asks, is the block schedule going to be the same when and if it shifts to in-person? The superintendent has indicated that, yes, if we come back to in-person learning, we will be on the same bell schedule. So I do believe that will be the case. Yahong asked, did we already address the textbook pickup? Yes, textbooks are going to be picked up on Wednesdays. Stay tuned for a schedule. Duke Pham asks, how and when can student take the SAT? I would recommend going on the College Board website and signing up for it there. We will not be able to administer the PSAT on campus given COVID-19. Andrew, please email Ms. Reyes or myself to get your ID number if you're coming from a charter school. Please email Ms. Reyes or myself. Karun asks, what happens to the Chromebook after 4 years of using? I don't know. I think we'll have to wait and see. I know there have been discussions about having students keep their Chromebooks, but I'm not going to promise that yet. So stay tuned on that. You know, I do think it's our district's goal that once we get through this pandemic and we're back to in-person learning, that we are one-to-one with devices, that every student will either have, you know, their own device, their own laptop at home that they can bring to school, or they can use a Chromebook from us. So that is the ultimate goal. Christine asks, if my child doesn't have period 1, will she start class at 10:15 on Monday and Thursday? Well, no classes on Monday. Remember, Monday is a staff development day. But if your student starts with second period and has an open first period, she will be starting at 8:30 on Tuesdays and Fridays. And then on Mondays and Thursdays, regular Monday, not this coming Monday, on Mondays and Thursdays, she will be starting at 10:15. So thanks for that question, Christine. So Sonia asks, any backup plans if teachers happen to be out sick for more than 1 day or 2? Any substitutes to keep the students' work without losing any instructional time? Great question, Sonia, great question. So here's how it works with staff being sick. So if a staff member is ill and they're still able to do distance learning, well, then they're still able to do distance learning, right? They're not, you know, they don't necessarily have to take a sick day. If a staff member is too ill to do distance learning, the expectation is that they provide assignments and instructions to students ahead of time to complete. And we also will have, I will have emergency lessons on file. You know, sometimes things happen where, you know, it's for real an emergency and the teacher goes to the hospital or something and they don't have time to email their students. Well, in that case, we will have emergency lessons that we can administer. Now, in the case that a staff member is out for a prolonged period of time, we are able to do long-term substitutes. Chinata007 asks, what if we never received our yearbook? I would say email Miss Yenter. Email Miss Yenter, our activities director. You should have received it. Susie Co asks, hey Susie, She prefers paper over digital. Question, are all digital textbooks available on paper? I don't believe so. There are some like biology books, STEM scopes that are really digital only, and it's not just taking a paper textbook and converting it. It's not like a gigantic PDF or a photocopy or something like that. It's actually like a digital textbook with different interactive things. So most may have a paper textbook, but many do not. It's just the digital version of the textbook. Thanks for that question. Punan asks, how are we going to track attendance? So teachers are going to be taking attendance at every class period, just like they would if we were in in-person learning. So if your student doesn't participate in a class session, you will get an automated phone call from the school saying that they didn't participate in that session. And so teachers can take attendance in distance learning in a variety of ways, right? One way is to have every student unmute themselves and read their name. Good morning, I'm Kyle Kleckner, I'm ready to learn today. That's a way that you can take attendance to confirm the student is there. You can also have students complete assignments at the start of class, and then that assignment completion, they're there because their work and their type-in could count as attendance. So great question. Tess Who asks, will Chromebook be compatible for computer pathway courses too? Yes, that is the plan. So if there's any apps or any special software that those courses need, we will be sure to get those for you. Winnie asks, will there be tardy for school attendance if they log in late? No, at least not yet. So right now for attendance, we are focused on present or absent. Those are really the only two that we're focused on for attendance right now, present or absent. Now, if a student is leaving, like I show up for attendance and then I bounce and I leave, that's going to be a separate issue where an advisor or a counselor may be calling the parent and saying, hey, your student's signing on for the first 5 minutes and then they're signing off again. But only present and absent for now for attendance. Karina asks, will there be other days and times offered for textbook pickups if we can't go the original scheduled day? Yes, just know that there's some logistical challenges, but yes, we will have accommodations if you're not able to come on your scheduled day. So thanks for that question. All right, hold on, I lost my spot here. So I'm going to say start adding your last question now. Start adding your last question now, because I'm going to be ending at around 12:10 or so. Hold on, I lost my spot. Okay, there we are. How long will our ESU, HSD, Google accounts go away after our senior year, or will they continue to exist? I'm not sure, PA, how long that lasts, the ESU, HSD accounts. I would suggest emailing. I'll drop an email. Email help@esuhsd.org and ask. I'm not too sure about that. BR Kumar 12 asks, when do students get to know about band instrument pickup? Miss Spieler in her classes, our band teacher, will be sharing that. So stay tuned for that. Do students have Wednesday of every week for only the first week? So Wednesday is no classes this week, and then every other week, except for like the weird weeks where we have holidays. So for example, Monday of Labor Day week, that's a holiday. So that Wednesday, we'll be holding the Monday's classes, right? So that teachers get the opportunity to see each class twice that week. But next week, we don't have a Wednesday class. Kathy asks, my freshman is registered at Pre-AP Art at VE Art Studio. How can she get credit? Kathy, you're going to want to contact your counselor when they return next week to have a conversation with them about that. On Nguyen asks, is online class recorded for replay if students miss a class? That is going to be at the teacher's discretion. That's going to be at the teacher's discretion, but the teacher is going to need to provide any makeup work to students if they miss the class. David Zhu asks, any update on school plan for PSATs? I don't see us having almost 3,000 students on campus to administer the PSAT, so I don't anticipate us being able to offer that this year. We're still a long way off from October, though, so stay tuned, but I don't anticipate that. Lai Win asks, will the teachers have a meeting like back to school night for parents a few weeks after the start of school? That is our goal. So I will say we haven't announced it yet. We haven't talked about it yet, but it is our goal to have a virtual back to school night. No one has really done that before, so that's going to take some planning and some thinking through. So stay tuned for that. We do hope to have a virtual back to school night where parents can interact and dialogue with the teachers. Thank you, Mr. Larson. I love the Roar team. They are fantastic, and freshman orientation was awesome. All right, so Kim Nguyen asks, you register online but still doesn't see his schedule online. Who should you contact? Please be patient. You are welcome to contact me, Kim, and I can take a look. We are working on getting everyone registered. Vivian asked about having School Loop send out weekly instead of daily progress. I'm not sure if you mean for classes or for our daily updates. Not too sure on that one. But it goes out daily. I don't think we're able to switch that in School Loop. Bashkari asks, how would we take AP Calculus AB as a freshman? That's if you completed the math analysis equivalent either in middle school or at EVC or some other organization. You would be able to take AP Calc AB. It's very rare, maybe 2 students out of like 750. Tiffany asks, how does school ensure that teachers give a fair amount of lectures and activities during 90-minute sessions? In the spring, it was not very productive. Yeah, it's going to look a lot different in the fall compared to the spring. So the first element is that there's a new set of rules. So we have a new structure for distance learning that we are all following, right? So teachers were following the process in the spring. Well, we have a new process in the fall. And part of that is that the administration, that's myself, the 2 assistant principals, and our dean, we will have access to every video conference session for teachers every day. So we will be able to do our observations like we would do in in-person learning in video sessions. We'll be able to jump on the Zoom call or the Google Hangout. And so that's a way that administration can know what's happening. And then if we hear something's not going well, we'll just pop into that Zoom session and see what's going on and then follow up with the teacher. But it is going to look much different. The expectations and the rigor are higher. So I do believe it's going to be a much better experience. Winnie asked, your Chromebook, Winnie Yong, is not working too well for the voice. Can I do an exchange? Yes. Go ahead and bring in the Chromebook at the time we talked about lunchtime, and we can swap it out for you. BR Kumar asked for the R40 link. All right, that's right there. Okay, BR Kumar. So I just dropped that in. Will administration be auditing the classes to ensure teachers are providing instructions? Yes. So not only are we going to be completing teacher evaluations like we would during any academic year, but we are going to be doing drop-in observations as well. We will have access to every video conference as well, and we'll be able to access that. So yes, Sharon, thank you for that question. Gautam asks, my daughter got denied when she filled out a form to take AP Physics 2, even though she originally opted for it and got a different science class. Yeah, Gautam, that's sometimes the way that works out. So, our promise to all of our students and parents is that we will have you graduate from Evergreen Valley High School with all the classes you need to be A through G ready for a CSU or UC university. It doesn't necessarily mean you get your first choice of classes. Sometimes there are classes in higher demand than others, and we're not able to overfill classes. So I would say submit that schedule request. If it can happen, it will happen. If not, you can talk with your counselor about taking a class at a community college. I'm not sure what you mean, Clara. Students can't see faces. Not sure what you mean by that. Students won't be required to show their faces, but they will be encouraged. RJ asks, virtual-based team projects or team activities, students to get to know each other and make friends. Absolutely. So that was a lot of what yesterday's freshman orientation was as well. That's a lot what advisory tutorial is going to be. And we are really going to try to help our students get their student clubs online and virtual as well. I think that's fantastic. Punan asks, if someone is late, will it be marked as absent? I think that depends on how late and how often, right? So if I am 85 minutes late to a 90-minute period, that may be an absence. Now, if I have an excuse, the internet wasn't working, but now I'm on, and that's the only time it happened, then that may be a present, right? But if someone's having technological issues day after day, then it's like, hey, have this hotspot, have this Chromebook, come to us on campus and use our internet. So there are things that we can do to get around that, but no tardies for now. If we took a summer class this summer at EVC, do we need to attain anything from the college? It depends on what that summer class is for. If you were using it to advance another level, in math, for example, we would need the transcript. If you were just taking something for fun like astronomy, then no, we don't need to know it. You would submit that to the college. Karun asks, You can, we will make sure, Karun, for computer science that you have any special technology you need. For now, a Chromebook should work, or any device you have at home. PA, yes. Freshman orientation was yesterday. So yeah, that was yesterday. We only have one a year. So Shithra, in terms of your email, you can go ahead and email me and I can help that. Or once you get started, you will be able to help. Your teachers will help with email. Samir asks, are schedules still subject to change? Yes, schedules still may change. Excuse me, before the first day of school. We are still trying to balance everything out so we can avoid schedule changes after the first day of school. That is our goal. So the schedules are not set in stone until the first day of school is when we really hope for them to be good to go. Vanessa, I'm not sure. Oh, it looks like Ms. Ray has answered your question, Vanessa Trong. Duke Pham asks, how can student change foreign language? You can request that using the button at the top of our homepage, evhs.schoolloop.com. Yeah, Diana, I see your question. Don't worry about it. So we there's a barcode on each textbook, and we have a scanner that we can beep on the barcode, and it automatically shows up as your student's information. So you will be fine if you turned your textbooks in at our textbook drop-off day. Now, the only way you would not be okay is like if your student took another student's textbook and then turned it in, or if they swapped textbooks or something, then we wouldn't know. But the textbooks are barcoded, and so if you turn them in, don't worry about getting fined or anything like that. We're only asking people to put them in bags because we have them in a big bin, and we can fit more in when they're bagged versus like just a giant mountain of books, if that makes sense. Thanks for that question, Diana. Becky asks, can a junior take a course at a community college due to a schedule conflict, even though the class is offered at EVHS? So Becky, that depends on if your student can take the class, right? So if your student doesn't have a spot on their schedule, then an R40 at a community college may be a possibility, right? Like if we can't get your student into the class, it will be an opportunity for them to take it at a community college. Now, if your student has an open slot on their schedule or has like an elective there and they want to take a class that we do offer, well, yeah, we're going to make you take that class with us. But if it can't fit on their schedule, then yes, there's an opportunity to take it at a community college. Have that conversation with a counselor. Great question. Yusir Chebby asks about changing an elective from got drama and wants art. You can request that change. Just know that it probably won't be possible, given that art is a full class. But you can request it and you will get a follow-up. All right, I'm reaching the home stretch now. We're in lightning round here. So as far as freshmen coming to get books on Wednesday, stay tuned. So register for School Loop, keep an eye on your School Loop email, and keep an eye on School Loop news. We will be sharing that out within the next few days as far as times for appointments. But because you participated in the coffee chat, I had to share the news now with you just so you could be ready. So yeah, stay tuned. We will share that information out. Bashkari, about EVC courses, you got to go to their website. So Evergreen Valley College is different from EVHS. So go to their website and they'll have it for you. Freshmen typically do not take classes at EVC. No, that's typically upper sophomore, juniors, and seniors only. Lai Win asks, our house has had power outages conducted by PG&E in the past. Yeah, we've been really lucky this year with the fires and not having that. It's been very mild weather, almost a little cold today. Can you elaborate on the ability to come on campus to use the internet? Is there a space to go to? Yes. So the way it's going to work is we hope to have stable cohorts of students, probably like a dozen students at a time, paired with one staff member. And then, for example, in Cougar Hall, our cafeteria, our library, our gym, we will have desks spaced out, more than 6 feet apart. And students will be able to come in and, use our internet that way and get onto their distance learning that way. Students will be required to wear a face mask and practice social distancing as well. Please stay tuned for details on that. We will be sharing soon. All right, so I have reached the end of the list. Thank you all for your participation today. I am going to post this video onto our newsletter site. So if you missed some of it, you are welcome to go there. Yeah, PA, as far as outages, they were rolling. I think we'll have to wait and see. We're certainly not going to have all of our students come to campus, but if a significant portion of our neighborhood is down for distance learning, we would definitely communicate that with our staff, so they're not giving quizzes or something on that day as well. Chinmay, as far as physicals, sports is delayed until the spring. So I wouldn't even worry about physicals right now. Once conditioning starts, we can talk about that. Vidya, yes, our counselors will be having information sessions coming up this year. Brandy, to get a Chromebook, come to our parking lot, 12 to 1 student parking lot. All we need is your student's ID number, Brandy, to get a Chromebook. Pila, yes, ID number stays the same from 9th grade to 10th grade. All right, and with that, folks, I'm going to go ahead and sign off, okay? So I'm going to wave bye. Until next week, remember, Thursday at 10 a.m. is going to be our new scheduled time, Thursday at 10 a.m. for coffee chats. I also want to plug Associate Principal, Miss Gubon. She is starting up her happy hours next week. So happy hours with Miss Gubon is going to premiere at 6 o'clock on Wednesdays. So 6 o'clock in the evening on Wednesdays, you can have your happy hour with Miss Gubon. And then the next morning, bright and early at 10 o'clock, you can have your coffee chat with me. So we are so excited to welcome our students back to Evergreen this school year. We want all of our students to know that they belong and can be successful at Evergreen, and we're super excited. Have a great day, everyone. I'll see you later.